What if we knew that sharing our personal stories can lift and teach our peers, our families, our communities, and even our nation? We have compelling narratives, life-changing insights, and beautifully challenging stories, all nestled in the heart of who we are and who we can become. If you love listening to and communicating with others about your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, what I have to share with you might be meaningful to you. Today, I am going to refresh your mind about the importance of personal storytelling. And I am passionate about this subject because it has empowered me. It has helped me gain personal growth and built resilience in me. So why do I have a strong desire to refresh your mind about the importance of personal storytelling? One, storytelling involves everyone, whether infant or older. Two, storytelling helps us find our voice. And three, storytelling helps us understand ourselves and others. First, we love telling stories and listen to stories as an effective way of communicating, relating, and understanding each other. We talk about life lessons and what we might have done differently. We complain about the weather. When babies talk to us through babbling, we try to speak to them and try to predict what they might be telling us. We may not think these are compelling examples of storytelling because they have become commonplace, but they are. They describe an event and speak of a place and time. So storytelling involves everyone, whether infant or older. As an early education teacher, I have witnessed storytelling in children with no language or no narrative skills. A week ago, I received a 30-month-old girl into my classroom, and while I helped her settle down, I noticed she had a tear-stained face. When I asked what was wrong with her eyes, she said to me, "My mommy was brushing my hair and I was crying." Mia was able to organize her story in a sequence that I could understand. Whether a medical professional or online student, storytelling involves everyone. Inspiring stories of people recovering from illnesses helped patients with health challenges cope with their journey. Online students sharing their stories on discussion boards or devotional boards help each other learn and develop relatable new insights. Stories help us remember and imagine. Everyone thrives on remembering the past, imagining the future, and embracing it. We cannot preserve our families, our cultures, and traditions without it. Stories engage our attention. For example, the weekly announcements we receive from our instructor sharing a video about a journal conference video he watched. When we watch those videos, it motivates and inspires us and help us gain our own spiritual story for the week. Second, storytelling helps us find our voice. Today, I will share meaningful and mindful considerations you can adopt when sharing a compelling story with an audience. Our passionate voices must be relatable to the audience, making it essential to learn from each other. When we share a story, we share a part of our life. Our stories must connect to the topic and the objective we desire to achieve. We must devote time, effort, and practice in delivering a compelling story. The story needs to have a mood and flow that communicates to the audience. The delivery must be fresh and spontaneous, which is how we find our voice of empathy, a voice of compassion, a voice of strength. On June 20th, 2018, a community leader invited me to address a youth about how to avoid negative peer pressure. Knowing what I know now, I would have delivered my speech differently. Since our voice represents the stories we share in hopes of connecting with others, it must be clear and our account must be easy to follow and not confuse our listeners. It should relate to the topic and not stray from the main point. A minute into my speech, I veered off the main topic about an experience that did not relate to the topic they had given me. It felt awkward. The room was silent, and the allotted time seemed longer than I imagined. I voluntarily ended my speech and went to sit down, and I promised myself that I would never give a speech again. There is a personal third. Storytelling helps us understand ourselves and others. My parents were not legally married when I came along. When I was 2 years old, my maternal grandmother ordered my father to come pick me up for my mother's care. As a result, I never saw my mom again until 30 years and more. I never saw her again. I felt broken, abandoned. I felt emotionally, physically wounded by the mother who gave me life. When I was able to connect with my mother and hear her personal story, I understood why and what determined our separation. There is a personal story abiding within our hearts. Sometimes we will not have to wait for a bigger platform to share our stories. We can stand up and raise our voices wherever we are, in our families, workplaces, in our schools, our communities, and even our nation. I have a question. When was the last time you shared a story of hope to support another struggling online student or a neighbor? I want you to reflect for a minute. Do our stories define us? Our individual stories stem from life events that have occurred to us. They can uplift and inspire others when we share them as relevant to the audience. Understanding ourselves begins with us. Understanding others through storytelling has value beyond what separates us. It builds empathy and compassion. It creates trust. Personal storytelling creates a lasting emotional connection to understand others. Sharing personal stories remind us that we are not alone. I invite you to stand up and add your voice to make a difference. Let's make sense of the world by sharing our stories and empowering others with messages of hope, of love, of faith, of diligence, of tolerance. Our growth, if your account is too personal to share, that's okay. We are all on a different journey and our growth is different, but we can listen to others who have similar experiences and we can learn from them and we can gain understanding, and together we can all connect and we can make the world a friendlier place. Madeline Engel said, if you don't recount your family history, it will be lost. Honor your own stories and tell them too. The tales may not seem very important, but they are what binds us and makes each of us who we are. You are powerful, and your story has a voice. The world awaits to tell your story when you are ready. Thank you.